Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one for you today. We got documents from the BIS and we got documents from the SEC. And we also are going to talk about research that's been done by Yale and the Fed Reserve. And I think you're going to like what they say. Well, maybe you won't. You know what? Let's just roll the beautiful intro. Here we go.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today, $1.246 trillion for the cryptocurrency market cap. That's somewhere in the neighborhood of around $50 billion missing just in the last day or so. So that just tells you why everything's red. Okay. Now we're going to talk about some technical analysts before we get out of here and what they think what's going to go on with the market here in the near term. And you may like that a little bit. Right now we're at 5609 for XRP, ranging between 5581 on the low end and 5924 on the high end. We will keep an eye on this as we go forward. But one of the things we really need to do collectively as an audience, as investors, I think we need to do this right here and retweet and be respectful, right? But all it takes is just one of the congressmen and women. That's all we really need to grab a hold of this very, very real story. And what we're talking about here, and if you guys can do this too, we can really, really get the attention of someone in Congress to take up this issue, because journalists up until now have done nothing from major news network. And if you ever wanted to be reassured that journalists, and not journalists, but mainstream media is bought and paid for, I think this is just as fine an example as any. This is a clip here, which I'm not going to play, but of Jeremy Hogan from Legal Briefs laying down the situation that's going on between the SEC, Ripple case, and many other surrounding elements to that, the Ethereum issue, the William Hinman speech. And if we could continue to make the noise we need respectfully by retweeting and tagging as many congressmen and women as possible, I think we could get this matter picked up in Congress, and then by default, mainstream media will have no choice. Now, shout out to John E. Deaton here, who lays down a wonderful tweet just about an hour ago. John, shout out to you, my friend, for everything that you're doing. The SEC sued Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson, seeking $1.3 billion. The SEC claims its XRP itself is a security, yet allows Jed McCaleb, the co-creator of the XRP ledger, to openly sell his massive holdings of XRP, while your XRP on Coinbase are frozen. What a great point. This guy, John Deaton, you are so smart, man. And I tell you, the many different things you've been able to bring insight and perspective to what's going on in this case, let alone taking up. We have not heard about his motion to intervene. That has been completely sidelined so far. We need to hear from the court on that as well. How many XRP has Jed sold since 12/22/20, when the claim was originally put forth from the SEC against Ripple? Great questions, John. Great questions. This is some news in case you missed it. XRP Ledger Foundation opened up a new office in the innovative European country Tallinn, Estonia. Is an innovative, advanced place when it comes to regulations with its digital documentation, e-citizenship, and other similar things. So the XRP Ledger Foundation, remember just, 10 months ago, somewhere in that neighborhood, the XRP Ledger had a foundation created, nonprofit foundation created for it to further separate its involvement and to show its complete separation from Ripple and the XRP Ledger and token. Now, this gets interesting right here, and we're about to look at some documents after this article of the BIS on cross-border payments and settlement and clearing of derivatives. I mean, just you name it, we're about to get into it. And the SEC document as well And right here, I think this sets the tone for where we're going. The Fed and Yale researchers lay out two regulatory frameworks for stable coins. Now, stable coins aren't necessarily an investment product. It's a digital dollar that's privately run and privately owned and controlled, right? USD Tether is an example of this. They are supposed to have one-to-one backing or a surplus to the dollar that they have a stable coin pegged to. Now, you can also have different versions of this. You could have an algorithmic stablecoin. You could have a basket of currencies that a stablecoin represents. But for the sake of this conversation, let's focus on what is actually out here in bulk today, which is USD Tether and others. So let's get into this. Yale professor Gary B. Gorton and Jeffrey Zhang of the Board of Governors of Federal Reserve System have co-authored a 49-page document called Taming Wildcat Stablecoins. Now, wait till you hear this now. Here's what their recommendations are. And let's see if this puts ice water in your veins or not. The Federal Reserve's ongoing research into central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, has broadened to include stable coins and whether they can be effectively regulated. In their paper, which was published in SSRN's eLibrary on July 17th, Gorton and Zhang argue that privately produced monies such as stablecoins are not an effective medium of exchange, because they are not always accepted at par and are subject to runs. The authors then go on to propose solutions to address what they consider to be systemic risk created by stablecoins. After taking a deep dive into the history of private money, beginning with the free banking era in the United States, a period from 1837 to 1864, the researchers concluded that policymakers have two choices with respect to regulating stablecoins. You either make stablecoins equivalent to public money, which I do not think they're going to do, or introduce a CBDC, which entails taxing private stablecoins out of existence. Now, that one is starting to ring through. This next one is possible as well. With respect to the first choice, the government could require that stablecoins be issued through FDIC-insured banks, or stipulate that all stablecoins be fully collateralized by treasuries at the Federal Reserve. Now, that's not a horrible idea either. I actually like that one over the taxing private stablecoins out of existence. I think we could have all the friction and all the private monies allowed as long as we have a neutral reference point in between it. You know, like XRP, the bridge asset to the world. And if we do that and you actually put forth the regulatory confines that anyone running or managing a stablecoin has to go through the treasuries and the Federal Reserve to hold their collateral there, so we always know that they are on the up and up, I don't necessarily find that to be a horrible idea either. The paper made its way through Twitter on Sunday, and the Avanti founder, Caitlin Long, shout out to Caitlin Long, making an interesting connection between the publication date and the upcoming stablecoin working group led by Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who we know is really involved in all of this. Beginning July 19th, Yellen will convene with President Working Group, which is today, ladies and gentlemen, President Working Group on Financial Markets, to discuss stablecoins. The group brings together various regulators, assess the potential benefits and risks of stablecoins. The discussion around stablecoins has ramped up recently, with Fed Chair Jerome Powell calling for stricter regulations of assets like Tether USDT. In testimony before the House of Representatives on July 14th, Powell said cryptocurrencies are unlikely to join the payment universe anytime soon due to their extreme price volatility. It goes on here to talk about, China's central bank says crypto impetus to the creation of its CBDC and so on and so on. We don't need to go any further. Be very careful with Powell's statements that cryptocurrencies are unlikely to join the payment universe anytime soon. I totally get that. Remember, XRP, is always referred to by Brad Garlinghouse as a digital asset. Now, you may say this is one tricky play on words, but you're going to see more of that evidence in this SEC document coming up in just a second. This is a BIS document, and thank to Sky. I don't want to say his whole handle in case he doesn't want to be completely recognized, but appreciate you, Sky. And this is Central Bank Digital Currencies for Cross-Border Payments, and this came out this month. Report to the G20. I mean, if you ever wanted to know if they're ever going to do these things, I don't think you have to look very far than what's going on the international level, and they're going to. And in fact, here's page 12, where they're showing 3 different models of how they could do these things. Now, I have a lot of little page references that I want to show you and then hopefully inspire you to go look at this, because I'm going to put this PDF in the comment section under this video for you all. Okay, and if anybody finds anything, feel free to tag me on Twitter for it. So you see they're entertaining 3 different models and approaches here. Consider the interoperability of separate CBDC system through adherence in common international standards, resemblance, traditional cross-border payments arrangements, common technical standards such as messaging formats, cryptographic techniques, so on, so on, so on, simplifying KYC and all the rest of it. Model 2 incorporates additional interlinkages through either a shared technical interface or common clearing mechanism, see glossary. And here, common clearing mechanism takes a different approach by linking systems through designated settlement accounts, and although a wide choice of interlinking options exist, none are likely to be easy to implement. History shows that many projects do not deliver the anticipated benefits or even fail to reach the operational stage despite significant investments. Now, Model 3 implies cooperation of a higher magnitude amongst central banks. It considers an arrangement where there exists a single CBDC system across jurisdictions. The concept builds on having a single set of rules, a single technical system, and a single set of participants. This deeper integration allows for potentially more operational functionality and efficiency, but increases the governance control hurdles. Wider access might allow more efficient settlement, but increases other risks. And then they go on. Now, let me move quickly here because I want to show you the diagram on the next page of the 3 different models, so you guys get a chance to look here and see the 3 different models. Technical interface. This is a multitude of privately offered correspondent and clearing services in between here, right? And then you have technical interface, clearing system, and then you have single rule book, governance arrangements, single set of participants, single infrastructure, and ledger. These are the 3 models that are being entertained by the central bank of central banks. Now, let me move on to page 24 really quickly here. And this whole document is incredible, and we should all read it. Now, it gives your glossary here, but I do want to show you on this page right here. They do break down permission, distributed ledger that allows only trusted third parties to be involved in the updated process because validators are trusted. Less computationally intensive mechanisms can be used to validate transactions. You know, when I saw the definition here for that, the first thing I thought about was the private ledger for central banks built off of the XRP ledger open source technology. So now it does not mention XRP or Ripple in this document that I could find anywhere, full disclosure. So, you know, just know that. But we do know about Project Jasper and Ubin. And if you don't, I'm going to tell you about it quickly, very quickly right now. Monetary Authority Singapore, MAS, and the Bank of Canada, BOC, linked up their respective experimental wholesale CBDC networks in 2019 to demonstrate how wholesale CBDCs could efficiently eliminate the settlement risk inherent in cross-border, cross-currency transactions by synchronizing payment actions without the need for a trusted third party or common platform. So now let's keep moving because I want to move through this quickly so you get it. Then we had Project Inthenon Lion Rock, which is basically following prior CBDC projects with a domestic focus by both central banks. Inthenon Lion Rock explored the application of CBDC to cross-border payments. It says here, in the operating model, cross-border payments are processed through a corridor network. Links up 2 separate domestic wholesale CBDC networks, provides cross-border settlement services. On either side of this corridor, each central bank issues its own wholesale central bank digital currency to their domestic settlement networks, which are separate from the cross-border transactions. The corridor is operated by a joint HKMA body. So, going to the next example or project is Dunbar. Project Dunbar will develop new connectivity models and a prototype of multi-currency DLT-based settlement platform. You can see from the central bank of central banks that they are trying this every different way to Sunday to find out where is the best use case. And in some instances, we may even see regional approaches continue beyond just the testing phase. What am I saying? What I'm saying is you may see these projects get adopted, and in one particular region of the world, the central banks may operate in a Project Dunbar fashion. And in another area of the world, they may choose, because of the way they want to do it, to operate in more of a Intanon Lion Rock kind of a foundation, or some other, right? Or Project Jura, or Jaspin and Euban, right? That's the point. You may see, not one approach adopted at the end of the day. You may see several, right? So now let's go on here to, and Project Dunbar down here at the bottom, just very quickly here, it is led by Saudi Central Bank. It's Central Bank of United Arab Emirates. It says the initiative uses DLT and a new dual-issue digital currency as a unit of settlement between commercial banks in the two countries and domestically. Again, I think another great example of showing how different regions of the world could adopt their own version of where they're going to go and then have that be interoperable to the other banks and networks of the world. We'll see. Now, this is a list of building blocks for enhancing cross-border payments. I wanted to highlight here, focus area A, public and private sector to commit jointly to enhance cross-border payments. Now, I mean, this is talking about interfacing, with the public-private sector, with the central bank systems that they're working through and testing, as well as, I believe, the public and private sector relationship to get these things built and done and have them work seamlessly. Now, let's keep going, because this is right here. Yes, and I want to go to page 33 now. So much to scoot through, and I'm trying to get through here quickly, ladies and gentlemen. And then focus area D, adopt and harmonized version of ISO 20022, which is amazing, right? So we know that Ripple is a part of the ISO 20022 body, standard body and committee, and they are the first member of that standard body and committee to actually implementing and using distributed ledger technology. So probably about as close as you're going to get in these documents of seeing them say it. All right, so now looking at this is the SEC document. This is page 12, but just very quickly here, I just want to show you digital asset and SEC regulation updated June 23rd. Let's go here and just a little further here. Page 12, digital asset exchanges. I pulled this page up on page 12 simply because, we know that Gary Gensler had made a call to action to Congress to give him the legislation they need to get the unified regulatory framework put in place for digital assets. Then the very next thing he said is one of the first places we need to start is with the exchanges, because that's where we all get it. That's where we all get these assets, be it stablecoins or crypto, right? So at the end of the day, they say many digital asset platforms are offering digital assets trading, referring to them as themselves as exchanges. A platform offers trading in digital asset securities and operates as exchanges as defined by federal securities law, must register with the SEC as a national securities exchange or obtain exemption. However, many such platforms offer trading in digital assets that are not securities. Some platforms are registered as money transmission services, MTSs, instead of SEC-regulated national securities exchanges. MTSs are money transfer payment operations that are mainly subject to state rather than federal regulation, although they do have to register with FinCEN and face certain report requirements to that office. Now, one of the things I wanted to show about this that still lacks clarity here, it talks about how some of these platforms are offering things that digital assets that are securities and are not securities. But where the SEC really lacks it all here is they never seem to clarify for someone you are and you aren't without doing an enforcement action. And that is the problem. We can't continue to watch a regulatory body like the SEC regulate only through enforcement. That's the problem. You know, it's just like we just talked about a case yesterday. It was CoinSchedule, I believe it was, if my memory serves me right. And they told them out of the 2,500, some of those coins were securities. Well, which ones? And that's the problem. The SEC doesn't define it unless they want to actually take you to court and then sue you over it. Well, that does not a solution make. And that's not certainly how you set the foundation for innovation. It's not what happened with the internet or any other innovative space that we've seen grow and not be stifled. This is some of the real issues that are in front of us right now. And if you're ever confused about why the market's red, I think we just went over it. But the encouraging part for me, while the prices are down, and I'm a disciplined buyer, so I buy the dip, not financial advice, but that's what I do. And while I'm seeing the encouraging signs of light to address the actual real friction points for the regulators and the free market, I'm encouraged that they're actually talking about these things. Now, as it goes with regulators and federal regulators and Congress, things move very slow until they move very fast. I happen to feel like we may be in a downhill moment. Let's look here at XRP Shark, who says we just touched 30,006K on BTC. Once that breaks, we will see 28.6 through 28.8. And then finally, 7 to 14 days after, we should meet the targeted range between 19.7 and 24K for Bitcoin. Those are his price point predictions. And to add to that, JD, who's another technical analyst we look to here on the channel from time to time, he says no moon boys will mess with our emotions. I know what a moon boy is, but I don't know why that would mess with your emotions anyway. But he says these dips were already charted on my trading view, which we looked at the other day, by the way. So these were already expected. If you follow his trading view, he says we can go even lower, pointing to what XRP Shark just told us, down another 10 to 20%. But the road to $100,000 Bitcoin, $8,000 Ethereum, $4 HBAR, and a $13 XRP is coming. No emotions. I second that, JD. I'm here for it. And you know what? I got room on the calendar, and that's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. That's your news for today. Check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. They are trusted, vetted links of products and services I use each and every day. Be very careful what you click on out here on the internet. I Trust Capital Gold, Crypto, Silver IRA is the best IRA on the planet, bar none. I'll catch you on the next one.